Hello lovelies and welcome to another video. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some hair fluf. Now depending on what style hair fluf you're going to be making, it may be different, but I'm going to be making hair fluf for this lovely character.
Sad inside and hopeless. These Hollywood hoes never notice. Can't get back up. Girl, I miss you. Can't get back up. Girl, I miss you. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon, and I end up alone. I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood.
So what you're gonna need currently is a paper, a pen, a measuring tape, and a ruler possibly. So let's get all of these items. Oh, and you might need some scissors. So make sure you get scissors that are for cutting paper, not for cutting fur, because you don't want to blunt the special scissors. Okay, so this fur, this fluf for the top of the head, basically, I'm going to have it so it starts at the back of the ears. Great, if you guys could see a little bit better. So it's going to start at the back of the ears, so about here for me. It comes down to the top of the eyebrow curves we have, and then it's going to come down the side and come in. So we basically just need to draw a 2D shape of the hair fluf. So for example, if you were going to do a mohawk, you would get the measurements of how long you wanted it, and then you would draw like the shape. So if you wanted it to have spikes, you could do spikes, but if you just wanted a bit of fluff, then you would curve it. Then you would get those two pieces, cut them out, then you would put them on the fur, cut them out, and then you would sew them together. And if you wanted to add like really thickness to it, you would stuff them, and then if you were happy with them just being double-sided long pieces of fur, then you would just have it together and sew it shut, and then you'd sew it and glue it onto the head. Really simple. So yeah, so the first thing that I'm going to do is measure the gap between the ears. So it's about 2.5 inches. Now before I draw this on any of the paper, what I'm going to do is draw in the book. So we have the top bit at the back, that's going to be 2.5 inches. Okay. Then I'm going to measure down to the front of the ears, because we want it to sit nicely in this gap. We don't want it to be too big. 3 inches. So on this baby scale version, we're going to draw a line down, kind of coming out just a tiny bit, and then this one's going to be 3 inches. How far down I would like it to come. Okay, so from the back of the head all the way, all the way down, and I'm going to have it be about here. So that's about 7 inches. So I'm just going to draw a line down the middle with it being a little bit longer, and that one's going to be a 7-inch line. On this side, we want it to go down. So how far down do we want it? I'm going to say about 5 inches, because I want it to reach the bottom of the ear. I kind of want it to come down and stop at about 5 inches from the start of the ear. So I'm going to draw a line going out, and this line is going to be 5 inches long. We have the 7-inch mark. I'm just gonna pop a pin where the approximate 7 inches is, because that way I know that we're going to be crossing the right paths. And then from end of this ear, just going to measure down to the 7 inches, which is about 5.5 inches. So on the line, it's this side from the end down to the 7.5, and that is 5.5 inches. Okay, I know it looks rubbish and it's all blocky on there, but that's not how it's going to be exactly. We are going to add curves, but we're just getting the basic shape of what we want. Now, from the pin that we put in, we want to measure from that point going down. Now, if it curves round, then you want to add that, but you want to make sure it gets to the bottom of the ear. You want to make sure that's there. So that's 6.5. So we now basically want this to be 6.5 inches. Measure the gap between the front of the ears, because that has a big play in this. So it's about 5 inches. So on here, I'm going to put this needs to be 5 inches. Now putting it onto paper. So first line, 2.5 inches. At 3 inches down, I'm going to measure like 3 inches down from the top. 1, 2, 3, and just put like a little dot, and the same on the other side. So from these dots, I'm going to just match them up. And then we want to extend it to be 5 inches, so that is 2.5 plus 2.5. So I'm going to find the middle first, so the middle between these dots, so 2.5 half is 1.25, so 1 inch and then 0.25. So it is about here. Here is the half point, okay? And then from this half point, I'm going to go across that way, 2.5 here, okay? I'm going to put a little dot, and then we're going to do the same for the other side. Then from those dots, I'm now going to bring the line from the top and join them. Okay. Now this bit can be blocky because it is just to go inside the ear, and the fur should just give it whatever shape it does with the fur because it's long. Then we're going to draw a line down the centre with 7 inches. Now we're going to join the end piece on this side, and it should be about 5.5 inches. It's 5 inches, but remember when we measured it on the head, it was curved. So we're just making it blocky for now, and then we're going to add in the curves. So I've joined these, just like the small picture. Now from this ear, we go out and down. Now I'm just going to try and measure on the head from the front of the ear where we've just come out to down. I believe it's about half an inch. It's about half an inch difference. So going across, we want 5 inches to go across. So I'm just gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're at the 5 mark. This is how long it would be if we drew. Sorry guys. This is how long it would be, and it would stop at the end of the ruler. So I'm going to go about half an inch down and put a dot, and that's where we're now going to join it up at. Because it doesn't go straight across because the ear does come down slightly. And now we're going to join it so it comes down at a slant. So another thing that I needed to measure was once it's come down to here, I actually want it to kind of stop in the middle between the eye and the ear. So I'm just going to measure how far down I want it to be. So it's about 2 inches from when it hits the ear. So on the paper at this end, I'm just going to add 2 inches straight down. So what we're going to do is join from this end to that little mark we made. As long as it joins up, then we're all good. Okay, so now we have the block shape in an accurate sizing, and now we need to curve it. So now I'm going to cut this out for you guys. And this is what we have. So I'm just going to compare it to what it would look like on the head, and let's see if we've got it right. The head, let's put the paper in between the ears. Okay, so first problem is when it goes in between the ears, because the ears kind of go in and then out, we need to change this. So what I'm just going to do is fold this paper in half a minute, just because these two bits are exactly the same, and I'm going to bring it in here and then out. So because it moves. Let's see if it fits better. Much better now. It fits much better. Now, as you can see, this is how it's going to drape down the side of the face. I honestly think that looks perfect. Now, obviously, it won't look as choppy or anything because the fur's going to be long. It's going to give that flow, and you don't want to bring it down too far because the fur is going to be long. So it's going to end up looking bigger than it actually this. But this is the shape we're going for. So let's get the fur and we will cut the fur out. Okay, so we have sewn our floof head. Now you can use the machine to sew it, however I hand sewed it just because I had it the exact shape that I wanted, and also it's not going to hold any stuffing, we're just going to keep it flat. You can also stuff yours, depends on how voluminous you want it, but fluff everywhere. But what I would recommend that you do is you just place it onto your head and you basically see what it looks like with the hair on. So this is what she looks like, a complete badass, really amazing, if I do say so myself. So I'm actually going to have it lower than what I had because I feel like it looks better, and obviously you can basically style it as if it's real hair because, well, not real hair, as if it's a wig. You just got to be careful. Now I'm going to try a new way of attaching this because it's very thin, and I want it to be, I don't know, I want it to have the effect of it being able to do that with it, and just like mess around with it. I like being able to do that. So we are just going to sew it at the back. So I am actually going to keep it open for now, because what I want to do is sew it shut as we're sewing it to the head, and that way we can keep the starting knot inside and hidden. So you are going to need to take it off. Now to take a head off, you always lift from the front up and down and then round, just in case you didn't know that. Now you might find this easier doing it without the neck on, so we've already done a video on putting the neck on, and obviously only now have I decided to do it a different way than I normally would. So normally I would actually glue it on mostly. Here's the head, here's the head floof. Now I'm just going to kind of like place it on as to how I would like it to go. I'm just going to pin it in place for a second. And this is what it's going to end up looking like, just a little bit seamless. And that's what it's going to look like at the front. I'm actually going to use a thin thread and just go over it twice. This way it's not too bulky, you can't see it, but it's very secure. And I'm going to use this light colour, because I feel like it would hide quite well. Obviously if I had an exact colour the same as the fur, then I would use that, but I don't. You would go up, then down, and then you would go back up the same bit, and then when you go down, you would go down this, but just a little bit more further. So it would go up, down, let's say in this crease of my finger, then it would come back up, and it would go down this crease of my finger, and then when it goes back up again, it would go back up this crease, if that makes sense. So obviously I only use about 1 centimeter maximum for a gap, but that's the basic idea. Okay, so it's a slow process, a blind process, but it's a process that we have completed, and the head is on and nice and secure. Just give it a couple of tugs just to make sure it's on nicely and it's not going to just pop off. Obviously, because it's only sewn on at the back, you do want to be careful with it. Now what you can do is, if you lift it the other way, what you can do is add a really thin layer of one line of glue just to reinforce it in. Now I'm going to do that just because it's only going to be one line, but this way you can really reassure that it's not going to just pop off. And also it keeps the fact that you can maneuver it. You can have it at the back, you can have it at the front, you can have it twisted round. It's completely up to you. And it was awesome and a really fun process, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys got to put on whatever hair fluff you needed to, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!
When you leave, I call you right back to check for monsters in my streets. It's hard for me to let go, but I think that I'm finally feeling good again. So hard cause I loved you, but I'm finally feeling like myself. All of the wounds that were opened by you are now closing. I finally know how to live without hurting myself. I think that I am moving on cause I do feel less broken. I needed a sign, this is a sign that I'm healing. I'm finally healing from you. I'm finally healing from you. I'm finally healing. I'm finally healing from you. I'm finally healing. Oh, oh. I'm finally healing from you. Finally healing. I know I'll make mistakes, don't mean to come off hardy. I'm just an imperfect person in this imperfect world, but I'm learning my way under this maze that I'm running through. Now when I think of you, I'm fine. See a picture of you, it would eat me alive. And now when I think of you, I'm fine. And all of the wounds that were opened by you are now closing. I finally know how to live without hurting myself. I think that I am moving on cause I do feel less broken.